This is one of the bigger swords that we can get. It is gigantic, so yeah, they are.
How heavy is it?
It's about 5 or 6 pounds. It's not that heavy, but it is very large.
Yes. It's a Spadone.
5 or 6 pounds.
Yes, an Italian greatsword.
Yeah, it would be about
So
Thank you.
What's the other word? What's the word for fencing? The other word?
Water blocks. There are as many words as there are languages
Oh,
who
okay.
know about swords.
No. Marty.
You know where that is?
Any special meanings?
Oh, it's all about teaching. So it's all about sharing love. You know, you got to be useful in this life, right? So I come out here and I share the paintings, and it's more just about trying to inspire and kindle people, to spark them to react and be compassionate and love other people.
So these poems? I mean,
Oh yeah, these are some, ideas. Most of them are pretty Buddhist by nature, because I'm a Buddhist. And if they're not attributed to anybody, they might actually even be by me. So this says intelligence is the ability to be happy. Because if you're not happy, how smart are you? Okay, so that's that one. And this one is really good too. I'm working on these now. They're not finished yet. This says enjoy life's obstacles. And remember that this obstacle is only here until the next obstacle is revealed. So you better embrace the problems that you have, because you're never going to run out of them. All right, so it's just this problem, and then you deal with this problem, and another problem shows up.
So do you travel around?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. My name is Lobsang Tenzin. I'm known as the Wandering Artist. This is stuff that hopefully makes people feel happy.
You said you're a wandering artist?
Yeah, I'm a wandering artist. We have a show called The Wandering Artist.
Oh.
That's what this logo here, where is it? Oh, this logo up here. Oh, okay. Now that logo is the oldest transcendent symbol in the world, and it represents speech, number one. It's part of Om Ah Hum, and Ah is sort of like when you say Aum, it's the Ah before the Om. It's like the sentient Big Bang. And it represents speech, Dharma, emptiness, and express love. It means all those 4 things. And together, all combined, make up what's called Buddha nature. And Buddha nature is what we all have in common. And when you reduce yourself and you distill yourself so there's absolutely nothing left, then we're all exactly the same. And it's basically we are love expressed. Because life came from an expression of love. And everything else is kind of just a distraction. So, yeah, I come here every now and then. I don't do this regularly. It's not about the money. It's I'm really lazy, so I live very close, and I paint a lot. You have to be prolific when you paint. So when I have enough stuff, I'll come out here and try and make it available for people to enjoy. Usually my stuff is very expensive. I'm known as a well-known artist. So when I'm out here, it makes my friends. I go online and I tell them I'm going to be here. With my paintings, and a lot of people come out to talk to me because I'm a bit of a teacher. It's not money at all, actually. It's all about offering. Everything here is by offering. So people offer, and they sit here and they reflect, and most people just sit and talk because they want to talk about problems and stuff like that. So I'm sort of like old school teacher, you know, like in the old days when the teacher would sit on the side of the road and the student would come by and talk to them. So that's sort of what I do here. Yeah, I love this community a lot, and I'm a student of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So it's very much a meditation, because the word meditate actually means to cultivate. It doesn't mean sit around and do nothing. It means to grow the kind of things that you really want to grow, and that takes effort. That takes being with people. And so when the Dalai Lama is talking to a crowd of 60,000 people, that's meditating for him, because he's inspiring and he's instilling hope and compassion inside of people's hearts. And that's the #1 role. That's what we should all be doing all the time. My name is Lobsang Tenzin, and I'm a Tibetan Buddhist, and I'm a student in the Gelugpa lineage of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And some people recognize me as a tulku. In some countries they actually call me Khenpo Rinpoche, which is their perspective. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm just here to be useful. But if they think I'm useful in that capacity, then I'm happy to help them. you. Have a great day. Huh?
Bye-bye.
Omaha.
Like, I helped, you know, just 5 minutes of like, yeah, it's this really weird popular thing done. And I was like,
Okay, we're from Burns Bog Conservation Society, which is an environmental nonprofit in North Delta. And what Burns Bog Conservation Society tries to do, it tries to protect and preserve Burns Bog for future generations. And my name is Amin, and this is Stephanie, and we're
Hello.
here today at
Car Free Day, and we're just trying to promote our causes. There's a lot of problems with Burns Bog. People are trying to build on Burns Bog, which is a really bad thing. Also, they're having coal trains run through it, so we're trying to protect it. And we give tours and summer camps. There's 2% of the bog that you're actually allowed to walk on. We have a little boardwalk, and we give tours. There's summer camps there. So, the tours, you can learn a lot about nature, the First Nations, how they lived off of the land.
you learn about the different species and the plants that are in Burns Bog. You learn about the different animals that you find. It's really popular with young children. We give a lot of field trips to kids as well.
Oh yeah, it's a really good carbon sink, way better than any forest in the world. And that's really great because, of course, you know, there's global warming going on. And what makes a bog so unique is that it's very wet, it's a wetland, it's acidic, so the entire forest is completely unique. You won't see this in any other ecosystem. The plants, all the different plants we have is pretty neat to see too.
And an interesting fact about Burns Bog, it's about 10 times biggest family park.
Yeah.
Or it was when it first started. Yeah.
We need to protect it, first of all, because we talked about how it's such a great carbon sink. It pulls in way more carbon than any other forest. Also because it's just so unique and beautiful, right? You don't want to build on it, more construction, there's no point of that.
It's an important part of North Delta. It has a rich history. It's important to preserve our environment, and it's a good thing. We want our future generations to know the significance of Burns Bog and what it means to us. And as Stephanie says, it has more economical and environmental benefits for us than any forest.
That's right.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the most important reasons. I mean, for people who don't actually enjoy nature as much, they can at least understand that it's such a great carbon sink, and it's just, we don't have that many more bogs, and it's a raised peat bog, which is also very unique, because most bogs aren't raised. So it kind of looks like a turned over bowl. It does this, because nothing can really decompose in it just because it's so acidic. So all this peat moss, it just accumulates and it starts to grow like this. And because of that, all the rainwater kind of just sinks into it, but streams and lakes don't run into it. So it keeps it very low in nutrition, and we want that to stay like that. It's the largest, raised peat bog in North America. Yeah, we have also a bunch of information on our board. You can see it from space, so that's pretty cool.
My name is Anna.
And my name's Stephanie. I know.
Your name?
Roger Clark. I'm with Liberation BC, liberationbc.org. We're a Vancouver-based animal rights nonprofit. We're entirely volunteer-run, funded by donation, and our mission is to spread information about how we treat animals. In particular, how we treat animals in agriculture. And our message is the best way to help yourself, your own health, the planet, and the animals themselves is to adopt as much as possible a plant-based diet. So the way we treat animals in producing food just treats them as commodities, as machinery, rather than as living beings, and they suffer incredible amounts, and it's all totally unnecessary. We can be perfectly healthy without eating any animal products, and that's the kind of thing that we want to educate people about. So again, the website is liberationbc.org. We've got tons of information about animals in general and about BC in particular, and it would be great if people would check that out. Well, so there are, as I said, three main advantages. One is you can get dietitians now. There's a consensus that a plant-based diet can get you everything you need. You can be perfectly healthy on a well-planned plant-based diet. And again, we have more information about that on our website. For the environment, the lower you can eat on the food chain, the closer to plants rather than animals that have had to eat the plants that we've fed them to get to the size where we're ready to eat them, you're going to have much less impact on the environment. The UN itself has reported that the #1 source of greenhouse emissions is animal agriculture. More than all the world's transport, cars, planes, boats combined. Animal agriculture. So the farther you can get away from that, the better for the planet. And maybe #1, the benefit is for the animals themselves. In order to get all the meat, eggs, dairy that we get from animals for our consumption, the animals themselves have to suffer immensely, unimaginably. And again, that's something that's well documented on our website, liberationbc.org. So there's lots of scientific evidence that shows that animals do in fact suffer pain, that animals like chickens, pigs, cows have very complex emotional lives. So yes, absolutely. If we all transitioned towards a plant-based diet, that would have a huge benefit for the land itself in BC. So one of the results of intensive animal farming, animal production, is devastation of the land. So think about pig farming in particular. Right? Pigs produce an individual pig produces about 10 times as much waste as an individual human. And you'll sometimes have these pig farms where there are thousands, sometimes as much as 100,000 pigs in a very confined space. So there's a lot of waste that's being forced into a very small area. And we've seen in places like North Carolina and the eastern seaboard of the US where, particularly in the wake of some kind of harsh weather, that waste can break out into the general ecosystem and cause immense damage. So the more we can transition away from that kind of thing and towards more plant-based agriculture, first of all, we won't have that kind of intense toxicity focused in one spot, but also we'll need to use less land. The invisible cost of animal agriculture, when you just look at the farm where the pigs are, you don't see the farm where we're growing their feed. In order to raise animals for food, we need to use even more land to produce plants to feed the animals. Why not just start with the plants and eat that ourselves instead of breeding massive numbers of animals to eat that, then we eat them. We have to use so much more land. Right. So one of the ways that we use land to grow plants for animals is growing grain that we make into hay to feed the animals. And again, we could be using that land to grow rice or corn or vegetables or fruit or so many of the wonderful kinds of produce that we have here in BC for human consumption, instead of routing it through animals via producing hay to feed to a pig, a cow, a chicken, whatever, and then eating the pig, cow, chicken. Yeah, potentially. Looking at world hunger is obviously very complicated, but there's at least reason to think that following these same sorts of arguments, if we can use the land more efficiently to produce food for humans in general, then that could help us to alleviate world hunger. If we can use land more efficiently, we can produce more food for less money, and then we should be able to feed more people. So obviously that's going to take a lot of complicated work in getting the right food to the right people. But the more we can transition to a plant-based diet, the easier it should be to solve the problem of world hunger. Potentially. So the question of what we've sort of evolved to digest is complicated, and there's lots of scientists working on this stuff. There's lots of evidence that we can that we've evolved to be omnivores, that we can eat both kinds of things. However, there's also lots of evidence that says that eating lots of meat, eating in particular the amount of meat that's become standard in North America today, is unhealthy. And the more that we can move toward a more plant-based diet, the healthier we'll be. You can look at things like the China Study, which is a book, Forks Over Knives film, websites like veganrd.com, jacknorris.com. There's lots of, there's more and more research on the health benefits of a plant-based diet coming out these days. Sure. My name's Roger Clark. I've lived in Vancouver since 2005. I sit on the board of directors of Liberation BC. I went vegan after seeing undercover footage from animal farms and doing more research to find out what was actually standard industry practices. And I just felt like I couldn't support that anymore. And so I've become more and more active trying to share with people the information that made such a difference to me. That's how I came to be here.
Hi, my name is Mary Chris Staples, and I'm also on the board of directors for Liberation BC. And I got involved 3 years ago. I was a vegetarian for many years, but all of a sudden I realized what was happening in the dairy industry. I read some articles and I saw what was happening in the dairy industry, and I had no idea that I was still contributing to this suffering. So at that moment I decided I would become vegan. But that wasn't enough. I decided I needed to go out and do more to help spread the word about what was happening to animals.
Hi.
Yeah. So my name is Iris, and I'm with the Vancouver Co-housing. And co-housing is a concept that started in Denmark in the 1960s. And about 20 to 25 years ago, the idea was brought here to North America through this architect called Chuck Durrett. And co-housing is basically a number of people coming together, and diverse people, single, family, and seniors. And they come together, they have their own units, but there's also shared spaces like a big dining room where they can get together, a big kitchen. And it's this idea of sharing our resources, and that you don't really have to buy into a very big house to be able to enjoy life. So we look forward to car sharing and knowing our neighbors, and being there, helping each other in bad times and sharing the good times as well. So if anyone is interested, they can just check out our website at www.vancouvercohousing.com. That's
Okay.
right. Yeah. So it's really about community, and it's getting out of our own individual spaces, and with the Facebook and whatever. Sometimes we are separated from each other, and so it's reaching out to others and living in a more humane way, I guess, and more communitarian, in this more communitarian spirit. Because like many of the North American houses, you arrive in your house, you go to your garage, and you never meet your neighbors because it's designed to be for individual families, but in co-housing it's designed so that you get to interact with your neighbors. So
In Vancouver?
So this co-housing is the first ever in Vancouver, and there will be a mix units. There will be some studios, 1 bedroom up to 3 bedroom, and most of us will be buying into it. But we also have some units that will be open for rentals as well. So some people we also welcome. That's a good question. It's a non-profit organization, and we are citizen developers. Like, we're not like big developers like the condos. We have come together to be the developers ourselves. So it's not for profit because it's for us, and you know, we don't want to charge ourselves. Like, we are the owners, the future owners of the homes are also the developers. It's located at East 33rd, and it's between Victoria and Knight Street, and that's an interesting location there. There is a community center and then a library nearby and a lot of shops, so you don't really have to drive your car anywhere. You can walk to the grocery store and the community center and the library. All three of us are members of Vancouver Co-housing, so yeah.
Yeah, being close to retirement, it's about being again in community and not being on your own, and being in a place where, like I said, you can be share like sporting equipment, meals, interests. But they are grown now. But one advantage of this common house is we have 2 guest rooms that, instead of me having to have extra rooms in my home, there in the common house there will be guest rooms, and if my children want to come stay with me, we can access the guest rooms, as well as everybody who lives there can, you know, have their children come visit. Okay, my name is Joanne. Very popular. We're just the first in Vancouver.
Oh, just first in Vancouver.
Yeah, because there's one in Burnaby, there's one in North Vancouver, and there's one in Langley, and there's one out in the Valley, and they're all over North America. So, and they're getting developed all over BC. There's one in Roberts Creek.
We're a good bunch of people, and we seem to get along well, and I'm interested in just living with other people and not being.
It's very different because for a big city, people are separated,
too isolated,
and then too much internet, but no actual physical contact. Yeah,
right. Here we will have face-to-face contact every day.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and the design of the building is actually designed to face each other. So instead of most places are designed that you have privacy and away from each other, this building is designed with co-housing in mind, and where people are, you know, pass each other as they walk to and from different places. So yeah, instead of, like I said, isolating you, you're meant to be in contact and saying hello. And,
Well, not.
So your facilities look like military.
It is. It was. It was an old army field kit.
Oh, really? So are you an old army too?
No, I'm not in the army. It's from the Czech army in Europe.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah. And it works fine after 70 years. It's from the 1940s.
Oh,
really?
So what you are selling? What kind of
chili? Look, it's here. A smoky beef chili and a vegetarian chili we sell. Yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Chili tank. Interesting. Thank you.
So, are you ready? Okay, so essentially, with marijuana being illegal, the harm from enforcing the prohibition of marijuana is more damaging than the marijuana itself being made legal. So what we're trying to do is decriminalize it so that the police in BC will spend no time or money pursuing cultivation and production and possession charges of marijuana, because what the police spend their time and money on is provincial jurisdiction whereas what actually is illegal is federal. So we can't change the law for the crimes, but we can change what the police focus their time on. So we're hoping that through this, we'll spend less money on police, enforcing these laws, and they'll spend more time and money, stopping, to be honest, like rapists and murderers and robbers and thieves and people who actually harm society, and less on people who are just smoking a plant, right? So that's the idea right there. We believe it'll also lower crime because instead of having to have organized crime fill that, gap of supply, because people want it, they're going to smoke it, right? It's not, you can't just ban it, right? We've seen that with alcohol in the past, like 100 years ago in Vancouver. Alcohol was illegal and marijuana was legal. It was like reversed. And prohibition just doesn't work. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that. It's not supported for those reasons.
Yeah, I've got
Oh yeah! His vocal is too...
Check, 1, 2, yeah. Check, 1, 2. All right.
Hang on, sir.
I know, next